I'm your host, Kelly Morgan, indie author and indie publisher. Welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. Welcome to today's episode. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Author's Mic. Kelly here, indie author, indie publisher, and welcome. So today, you guys know it's Monday because I'm not by myself. I got a guest today. I have Kim Lawler. She is here to talk about her book, As We Sage. And the fascinating thing, I think, with Kim is that she is a psychic medium who has written this book. And so we're just going to get all into it. Kim, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Kelly. I appreciate it.
Oh, you are so welcome. So I will just get you started in asking you, like, what made you, or not what made you, like, what was the motivation behind writing this book? And now that you've written this book, are you now an author?
Well, yes, I do consider myself an author. And what made me write it was my spiritual awakening happening. And this happened in a time we were in the kind of the same political tumult that we're in right now. And COVID had happened, and I was just depressed and anxious and all kinds of things, like a lot of people were. And I had this moment in time when I was looking at a picture that had my family in it, and my brother was missing in that picture. And since the photo was taken, my mom and my brother had both passed. And so I'm looking at this, and I felt overwhelmingly like this feeling of love, but was different, you know? And I just knew they were with me. And so this kind of sent me on this track of going and seeing a medium, which I've done in the past. And she sent me an invitation to a class. And so, because, I had been watching my grandkids and I had just retired and I could no longer see my grandkids because of COVID. So, all this, I was all of a sudden like, had nothing to do. And so I'm like, okay, I'll take these classes, right? This is great. And I jumped in and found out that, yeah, I can speak with people who have passed. And so so then I start meditating more and start getting back into spirit. Because at that point in time, I was feeling a little bit like an atheist. I was like, what is going on in our world? You know, and so I was able to reconnect again. And after reconnecting, it was like, now I feel like I've been welcomed back into the fold, and I'm getting downloads of information for like an oracle deck. So I'm like, okay, I'll do this. And then I started getting information about writing a book. And I've been a nurse for 34 years prior to this. And like I said, I had just retired. And so as a nurse, you're trained to teach people. You're always teaching. And so I'm like, I've got all this information. I'm feeling so much better. My depression has lifted. I'm not as anxious. I can control myself better. And the hate that was in my heart had lifted. And I knew that only love was the way, right? Love was the way to move forward. And so rather than throwing more hate out into the world. And so I needed to write this book, and because it came, and it wasn't like having been a nurse, I knew what a calling was, right? And this was a calling. I was like, do it, just do it. So I was like, okay, I will. So that's what brought me to writing it.
And so did you self-publish the book?
I did. I self-published through Balboa Press. Which is a division of Hay House, and so I
Mhm.
was taking Hay House classes and that sort of thing, and being in their group. Um, and Balboa Press is very connected with them, so I was like, oh, I'll publish through them.
So, what is the book about, As We Sage? And some people may not even know what you mean by, I mean, I know what saging is, but some people may not. So how did you come to that title?
Okay, so it actually has three meanings. Like you said, saging, like saging for smudging to make your space clear of bad energy. And it's also sage, like the sage within us, right? Women, and because this is written for women who are beyond midlife, 50 and above, more or less, right? And so as we sage, as we you know maintain the crone within us, and also just the sage, like the herb, I mean, I just like sage
Right, me
too.
too.
Yeah. And so it's really the rest of the title is A Woman's Guide to Reclaiming Spirit, Wisdom, Joy, and Magic Beyond Midlife in Turbulent Times. Because I knew a lot of women like me were having a very difficult time accepting the political stuff that was going on, just like right now. And it is difficult. And so how do we maintain our mental health? And as aging women, how do we maintain our cognition? How do we maintain the joy and the awe and the love that that we are meant to experience here on earth? And how do we maintain a connection to spirit, which is really where all that love comes from, right? And so putting it all together, it's just to help somebody have a guide. If you're in a place where you're stuck or you just can't quite get out of the darkness, it's a book for for women who are looking for that sort of path, to get back to spirit, or just to be able to get back into the joy in their lives.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And you had mentioned mental health and just being able to take care of yourself in today's climate is so important. It's
Yeah.
very easy to get caught up in the day to day and not even think about you
Yeah.
and your mental health and all of the information that you are taking in on a daily.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and indifferent, because there's a lot of information out there,
There is.
right?
There is.
And that can take a toll. You may not even be aware of the toll that it's taking on you,
I agree. Yeah. It
you
sneaks
know?
up on you.
It does. It really does. And so is the book where I always ask people because it sounds like it's almost like a self-help book helping people. So and I always ask people that write self-help books because I do not write self-help books. Is it a self-help book where you are not only telling us, but you are showing us how?
Yes, yes. And it's either the last or the penultimate chapter that I basically go through how I fit all the stuff into my day or my week. Because I know that's one of the things that it's like, well, they're telling me to do this and this and this and this. How? How do I
Right.
do all of that? So I try to put it in a way that you're fitting it into your everyday life.
So I got to ask you because you're a medium. Did you write this book alone?
Oh no. I feel like everything I do now is a co-creation, right?
So there were others in your head telling you, helping you write?
Yeah, my grandma, who is also my godmother, was a school teacher. And so, and I always consider her right about here. And, and my mom was a well-spoken woman who could write well. So I would, before I would start, I would try to remember. Praying was, an absolute, but I always try to remember to ask them to help me as well. And then if I had a specific thing that I was thinking about or couldn't quite get the picture on myself, it'd be like, okay, spirit guides, help me out here, right? So yeah, always some sort of help.
Yeah, that's always nice. I always like to ask because I mean, I don't know about you, but when I start writing, it just comes in waves, and sometimes I have to keep up. And sometimes it's hard to keep up writing all the information as it's playing out in my head. And sometimes I feel like the book is taking on a life of its own, and I'm just here really just trying to keep up to write it all down.
Yeah. Yes. And that's kind of a lovely feeling in a way, and it's also a kind of a harried feeling, right?
Right, right. And it can be good or bad. It depends on how, what you're talking about, but that's definitely how I write. And when I talk to people, that's how a lot of people tell me they write. It just comes to them,
Yeah.
right? It just comes and then you just have
Yep.
to write it down.
Yeah.
So Kathy, not Kathy, Kim, how can we connect with you if we want to learn more about the book and more about you and even the services that you offer as a medium? I think people
Mhm.
would be interested in that. How can they reach you?
I have a website, Kim at Heart. no, I'm sorry, that's my email address. It's hearttosoulconnection.com. And you can schedule through there for one-on-ones. And also, my book is available, Amazon anywhere. And I'm actually just finished the audio recording. I don't know when it will actually be out, but the audio will be done soon. Um, and those are the best ways. I'm also on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook. So I try to do daily card pulls on most of those.
Nice. And so, if somebody wanted to reach out to you and say, not only, I've got the book, but I'm interested in your services as a medium, these are things that you do virtually?
Yes, I do them through Zoom. I can do like FaceTime as well. Zoom, I think, is works just fine. Um, I used to do when I lived in a bigger metro area. We just moved to a really small town. I would do sometimes meeting people at other places, but now it's strictly virtually.
Fantastic. So let me give my laundry list of things before we let everybody go, as I always do, you guys. So if you want to be a part of the Author's Mic, it's very simple. You just go to the website, you go to the Be a Guest tab, fill it out, boom, you're a guest. It is literally that simple. If you are writing a book and you are struggling, I have a guide. It's called So You Want to Write a Book. It's free. 44 pages. Go to the website, download it. It is yours. Start your journey. If you want to support me, I've got 2 books out there. Wait for it and You Sound White. I will happy to ship them to you. So you can get them wherever good books are sold. I also have an audiobook, which was actually very interesting to do an audiobook. I never knew there was so
Mhm.
much involved in recording your voice. Who knew,
Yeah.
right? And then if you are an indie author and you want to pitch our book club, we do have a book club. It's called the Indie Reader Society. We don't know about your book if you don't tell us. The link's on the website. And if you want to join the book club, we would love to have you. It doesn't cost anything. We'd love to have your voice. You can join the book club. So, Kim, I wanted to ask you before we go, you wrote this book to really help women kind of navigate these waters. So what bit of advice can you give us as women who are maybe past that midlife, who are maybe looking for a way to get started, we just don't know where to start? It all sounds great. Everything you're saying sounds great, but gee, I don't even know what to do on a day to day.
Yeah.
What sound piece of advice can you give me where I can get started?
I would say do your best to start meditating. If you can't, if it's hard for you to sit still to meditate, do a guided meditation. I am amazed at how much meditation can help in so many ways. I would also say just take those little moments throughout the day when you can be awestruck and relish in it for just a few moments. Just take that time. You see a beautiful flower, like literally stop to smell the roses, that sort of thing. And try, I would say also, if you can change any hate that you might have in your heart and send love to those people instead, whoever they are, however awful they may seem, sending love in the world is way better as a ripple effect than sending hate out. And we know the world needs more love right now.